Hi everybody, I'm reviewing Fantastic Four, which came out in 2005, starring Jessica Alba, Ian, and Chris Evans before he was Captain America. So let's talk Fantastic Four before the new one comes out. Does this original movie hold weight? Let's discuss. This movie came out around the time that superhero movies were slowly getting off the ground. This came out after the first Spider-Man movie, which you can see a lot of traits from this movie compared to the Spider-Man movie. So of course, people knowing that Fantastic Four is Marvel's original first family, one of their few first actual comic books that came out of these characters. So people seeing this, despite having the original movie that came out in, I'm suspecting, the early 90s. After checking back, yes, the Fantastic Four came out in 1994, the first movie, before we got the 2005 one. So when this movie came out, it had a few goofy vibes to it. It didn't really go as hard and as serious as it should be, so it was honestly very campy. But you know, it's the early 2000s. They're just coming out with comic book movies. Comparing it to 1997's Blade, this was a different tone because they were going a different route with the comic book movies because they were specifically targeted towards kids. Surprisingly, this movie actually worked. From the cast and everything, Jessica Alba and Chris Evans really did convince me with their sibling connection. Like, they actually really had a bond, and I really enjoyed how they actually showed that. Kind of wish they kind of emphasized on it more, but honestly, this was the first movie, so they were kind of giving us the surface level of everything. The actor for Mr. Fantastic, first actor I've seen for him, but this actor was actually very good. Got the intellect down, got the, the stubbornness down, just his vibe, his demeanor, and everything really showed that, like, I'm smart, I know what I'm doing. But you can still kind of tell that, like, his self-esteem was a little down, especially comparing it to Victor Von Doom. And getting to Victor Von Doom, honestly, I can respectfully say that this performance from Julian McMahon, and talking about Julian McMahon, rest in peace, he died recently. But his performance was actually pretty good. But you can tell that the movie didn't even go like that far into detail with how Doctor Doom is. So like I said, this was kind of just more of like a surface level villain. And Michael playing the Thing, honestly, I could respect it. It was actually an interesting version of him, even though the actor playing him wasn't Jewish and they didn't really talk about his Jewish background. But the accent that he used for the character really hit hard, and just the emotional impact with Ben and his struggle with actually being the Thing, and how they really emphasized and focused on it a lot for the story, really does show the struggle that he goes through as a hero, which I really did like as well. And everybody knows Chris Evans as Johnny Storm was just awesome. They saw him in Not Another Teen movie, and then they were kind of just like, you know what? We like it. He's in. And Chris Evans does show how good he can play those type of cocky, womanizing characters. And with what I know about Sue Storm, Jessica Alba did play the character right. She looked good in this role. Granted, I kind of felt bad because the contacts she had to wear, but she still blew it out the water. Beautiful. Cast beautiful. The cast was so interesting to see on the screen. But what didn't work about this is you can tell that this was honestly a 2000s movie. The script was kind of wonky, the delivery was kind of weird from the actors, some of the visuals looked strange. Even watching it back in the day when it came out in theaters, like, the visuals, they were good for what they were, but they still needed some work. So the special effects were, could have been better. Doom's design could have kind of been, a bit cooler, but they did what they could do. But the thing that I really caught on to was, if you mirror Norman Osborn from Spider-Man 1 and Victor Von Doom in this movie, you can see the comparisons, especially with both of them. Once they got their abilities, they actually went through a phase where their company was drowning and they were getting cut from their company, and then went and got revenge on the people that cut them from their company. Very interesting, and something that I really caught on to, which kind of made me laugh because I actually do like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. And what the things that stood out to me, like I said, was just honestly Ben Grimm's The Thing. just how heartfelt that felt, and every time he was on screen, you kind of really do feel bad for him, especially with everything he went with his wife, who I personally think should have at least talked to him and saw what happened, because you married him, you have vows with him. Why didn't you even try to talk to him and hear what happened? I get it, it's a long shot of him actually going back to normal, but jeez, you're just gonna end it just like that? Not even giving him a chance to explain everything? I don't know. That's just how I felt about that. And with Doom's build up in this movie, from being a cocky, self-centered billionaire to slowly progressing to becoming a villain, as angrier as he's getting because his company is slowly failing and he's just losing it, was beautifully crafted. Even though this Victor wasn't as prominent and huge as the comic of Doctor Doom, but he still grasped what it was to be Victor in this smaller, more contained universe. For the first movie in this franchise, because there's a sequel, this one was honestly very good for what it was. The second one, we'll talk about that in the next video, and then after that we get to talk about the disastrous 2015 one, so that should be fun. Any fan that really likes Fantastic Four really is going to enjoy this movie. I don't see that much bad being talked about this movie, outside of just how goofy it is and the special effects, because this movie was released 20 years ago. So regardless of who you are, how much you like comic books, you'd be able to sit down and rewatch this just as many times as you want. Just enjoy it for what it is. And I have to say, this cast for this movie is extremely attractive. They really went all out with getting attractive actors for this cast. So after explaining everything and looking into this movie again, just bringing back old memories, to rate this, I'd give this a solid with snacks. It wasn't perfect, but this movie is just that level of entertaining that keeps you wanting more. So you guys watching, let me know your favorite Fantastic Four moment in this movie, whether it's Victor killing his CEO of the company, or if it's just Reed Richards doing awesome stretchy stuff, if it's Sue becoming invisible, or just Johnny being Johnny. Comment below, let me know how you feel about the movie. And if you like my vibe, like this video and subscribe. And like always, I'm James Hancock, signing off.